We now have, as of this recording, 71% of precincts reporting in Monday night's Iowa caucus. I will talk later about how Iowa should not be the first in the nation primary. More on that later or tomorrow. The results didn't come into us on Monday night because of the total crash of the technology used to report results in Iowa. And we had a very embarrassing 24 hours for the Iowa Democratic Party and for the Democratic National Committee. And 62% of results were released yesterday, Tuesday afternoon. As of this recording, we've gotten another 9 percentage points of the results. 71% have been released. Most analysts believe that Pete Buttigieg, who is now leading, will be the eventual winner of the Iowa caucus. Now, remember, these are proportional delegate allocations. So it will be a mathematically meaningless victory for Buttigieg relative to Bernie Sanders in the grand scheme of things, but we'll come back to that. Looking at the results as of a few minutes ago, Pete Buttigieg with just under 27% of the delegates, Bernie Sanders with just over 25% of the delegates, despite, as you might notice, Bernie having more votes in the popular vote as of this counting. You'll notice Elizabeth Warren in third place with about 18%, Joe Biden in fourth place with 15%, and Biden followed very closely by Senator Amy Klobuchar with about 12.5% of the vote. The only other people getting any delegates are Andrew Yang with 1% and Tom Steyer with 0.3%. Everybody else, including Michael Bloomberg and Tulsi Gabbard, with literal goose eggs, just zeros. Now, without going into the detail, the reason that Pete can have more delegates while Bernie has more raw votes, it's similar to how you can win the Electoral College but lose the popular vote, the way Donald Trump did in 2016. The delegates are apportioned at a local level, and you can win some precincts with a big popular vote margin, but then lose a lot of lose a lot of other precincts by small margins and end up with a popular vote win and without the most delegates. We don't yet have the final numbers. In the end, more than likely, this will mean 10 pledged delegates for Pete and 10 pledged delegates for Bernie. They might end up differing by one or two. That's as of right now. We are still waiting on that last 29% of the vote. This does not put anybody in any kind of a decisive position. We will very quickly get another Democratic debate this Friday. We will then go right to the New Hampshire primary on Tuesday, which will be 24 more delegates in total. Bernie right now very much in the lead in New Hampshire. So remember, this is one of 4 primaries before March 3rd, Super Tuesday. The delegates are apportioned proportionately, and the DNC is increasingly panicking about Joe Biden's poor performance and Bernie's good performance. We'll talk a little bit later about the idea that's being floated about giving superdelegates the power they had in 2016, which had been taken away from them. In New Hampshire, Bernie Sanders, remember, Bernie won handily in the 2016 New Hampshire primary. He had about 60% of the vote to Hillary Clinton's 38%. Massive victory in New Hampshire in 2016. But again, it's 24 delegates. Iowa was 41. New Hampshire is only 24. The big repercussion here is not for Buttigieg or for Bernie. The big repercussions here are for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's terrible performance has shaken the establishment to its core. And later in the show, we're going to dig into that in more detail. Elizabeth Warren's poor performance also leading to some deep thinking about her future. She got just 4 pledged delegates and is currently polling in 4th place in New Hampshire. Very unlikely New Hampshire will give Warren any momentum. There was a report yesterday, I don't know if it's been confirmed, that she has been canceling and rescheduling a lot of planned travel to both Nevada and South Carolina, the 3rd and 4th primary states. It does not seem like things are going well for Warren. And really, they haven't been for about 6 or 7 weeks at this point that we've been covering. So those are the numbers as of right now in the Iowa caucus results. By the time you watch this clip, by the time we publish today's show, we may have 100% of the results or closer to it. But generally speaking, these are the results. A overperformance by Pete Buttigieg, significant underperformance by Joe Biden, and Bernie Sanders roughly percentage-wise with the level of support that the polls indicated going in. Make sure you're following The David Pakman Show on Instagram for more on this and other stories at David Pakman Show.